Many thanks for joining us. Let's now take a look at the news in detail. Now, after years of anticipation following the rejection of the 2020 draft constitution, the Gambia's journey towards a new constitution framework took a pivotal turn as Justice Minister Dawda A Jallow tabled a motion for the second reading of the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia Promulgation Bill 2024. The motion presented to the National Assembly on Monday has ignited a heated debate among lawmakers, reflecting the nation's ongoing struggle to establish a democratic foundation following the turbulent regime of former President Yahya Jammeh. More in this report. The introduction of the 2024 draft constitution comes after a lengthy and contentious process that began in the wake of Jammeh's departure in 2017. Gambians have long awaited a new constitutional framework that would enshrine democratic principles and prevent the kind of authoritarian rule experienced under Jammeh. The 2020 draft constitution was initially seen as a beacon of hope and widely consultative, but was ultimately rejected by the Fifth Legislature during its second reading, leaving many citizens disappointed. Following the first reading on December 23, 2024, the Minister of Justice, Dawda A Jallow, on Monday, 7 July 2025, presented a motion for the second reading of the draft bill, which is in line with standing orders of the National Assembly.
Bill has ever been presented before this Assembly that is perfect, and there will be no bill that may be presented in the future that will also be perfect. This is not a flaw in our system. It is a fundamental feature of democratic lawmaking. The Constitution itself acknowledges this reality by providing mechanisms for amendments and reviews. Even the United States Constitution, revered worldwide, has been amended 27 times since its adoption. The 1997 Constitution that currently governs us has undergone numerous amendments to meet evolving needs. Perfection is not the standard we seek. Progress is. The process of lawmaking is fundamentally about consensus building, which does not mean unanimity all the time. Your standing orders deliberately provided for multiple stages precisely to allow for the refinement and improvement of legislations through dialogue and compromise. If you pass this bill at the second reading, it will proceed to consideration stage where the real work of negotiation and adjustments takes place. At this stage, honorable members will have the opportunity to propose amendments to address the specific concerns, engage in detailed clause-by-clause review of the constitutional provisions, participate in committee deliberations where public input can be solicited. And
the motion was seconded by Honorable Amadou Kamara, member for Nyanija, who urged his colleagues to focus on the merits of the draft rather than be swayed by external influences.
And now what I am seeing is people going on social media saying whatever that they want to say. We need our 2020 draft. Who will present a bill before Parliament in the same format and it's rejected here in Parliament? You want to bring it in the same format? Then it means you are not doing anything. You are not doing anything. I bring a bill here, word to word, A to Z. Parliament said, no, we don't want it. It's your responsibility to go and do the necessary changes based on the debates that was done in Parliament. And I think that's what the executive have done. If Parliament thinks that there is one or two things that are missing, it is our responsibility to restore it back. And we have the powers to do that. The standing orders are very clear, the process and procedures of bills.
However, opinions among lawmakers were sadly divided. Honorable Mohamed Kante, member for Busumbala constituency, voiced strong opposition to the 2024 draft, asserting that it does not reflect the genuine views of the Gambian people. He further criticized the draft as being influenced by political agendas rather than the collective will of the citizens.
I believe we should not be selfish in the essence that we should give them their due. And their due and their views were captured in 2020 draft. That is what I mean. That being the case, if that draft has been presented before parliamentarians, I think we should uphold that. But not to go and exchange that with a view primarily made to advance and validate a political agenda of any chief political actor in this country. We cannot do that. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the clear comparison about 2020 draft, we would say this represents the people.
Conversely, Honorable Suwaib Toure of Wuli East highlighted the importance of collective interests over individual egos, urging members to recognize that compromise is essential in the legislative process.
You cannot sit here and say, I'm going to refuse this draft to go to the second reading. But what I want to be there is this and this and this. You cannot put what you want unless you go to the second reading. Until we get to the consideration stage, you cannot have what you want. And nobody should say here that you must have everything that you need in this draft. It cannot happen. It is a give and take. It is a give and take. You have almost 380 or so provisions there. You will not like everything and you will not hate everything. So we must take and we must also give.
The debate also highlighted concerns about the potential for presidents to overstay their welcome in power. Honorable Bakari Kora, member for Upper Fladu, stressed that supporting the draft is crucial for establishing term limits and democratic safeguards.
The 1997 Constitution is outdated and no longer meets the needs of a rapid evolving society. The new Constitution addresses gaps and ambiguities in the old document, providing a clear legal framework for governance. So, Honorable Speaker, these are some of the reasons why I, Honorable Bakari Kora, representing Upper Fladu West, is supporting this draft constitution. And it also goes, Honorable Speaker, enhanced checks and balance, just as alluded by the Honorable Member for Nyani. We state the new constitution strengthens the separation of powers between the executive, legislature, and judiciary, ensuring that no single branch becomes too powerful. Introduces mechanism for greater accountability, such as the recall of members of the parliament and stricter impeachment procedures for the president. So these are good practices. And decentralization of power, which is very, very important.
Meanwhile, Honorable Kebati Sane Namfafoni Jarol expressed a strong opposition to the proposed changes, indicating that the draft constitution will be put to rest permanently.
We cannot write a constitution for the interest of one person. The constitution must be written to serve every Gambian, and it must be written to protect the interests of Gambians. It must be written to protect the resources of the Gambians. Not when a government is there, we write for a government. When that government leaves, we go and look for money again for funding, to borrow millions, to come and then prepare another constitution for another government. This is what is happening. Our problem is not the constitution, and even if you beg here, we will bury the constitution here today.
Other lawmakers, including the Namfabundu Kakunda, Honorable Suleiman Jammeh, added his voice to the debate.
Whatever decision also we do, we are not perfect, whether it's good or bad. Know that it will affect our people one way or the other. So this is why I am happy that the Honorable Minister mentioned it, that we need to dialogue, we need to compromise, because there is no document. These are documents that is written by human beings. So that shouldn't make us, we should not tie ourselves, and we shouldn't tie ourselves to an extent we don't want to untie. We can always untie ourselves when we get to the consideration stage. Because I know there are so many people who really, participated or contributed to ensure that at least we come to this, we have this draft constitution of 2024.
As discussions unfold, many Gambians are closely watching the proceedings, hoping for a constitution that truly represents their aspirations for democracy and good governance. However, in 2020, these hopes were started when the National Assembly rejected the draft constitution Promulgation Bill 2020 during its second reading, leaving the country still governed by the 1997 Constitution. The path to a new constitution remains fraught with challenges, but the voices of the Gambian people continue to resonate in the halls of power, reflecting a nation determined to shape its own future. The proposed legislation aims to promulgate the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia and repeal the 1997 Constitution. At the time of recording this story, debate was still on. Mariam Adem, reporting for StarTV News.